Welcome to Ocean County Focus. I'm Donna Flynn, your host. Joining me today is Ocean County Commissioner Gary Quinn, who serves as liaison to the Ocean County Department of Health, and also Ocean County's Public Health Coordinator, Dan Regney. And we're going to be talking about some of the programs and services of the Ocean County Health Department. Thank you both for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. Commissioner Quinn, I wanted to start with you because, again, I think it's a good introduction also that you became liaison to the Health Department actually in January of 2022. But you have closely followed the program services and, you know, the pandemic response and that sort of thing. And I just wanted to ask you, how do you feel about being in this position now?
First of all, I'm very honored to be in a position. And when I took over in January, I was welcomed by not only Dan but the rest of the staff up at the Board of Health. Tremendously. They really accepted me, and I look forward to what we've done so far as well as what we're going to do in the future. But having said that, I came in at a time where we all know that it's been very difficult for the Board of Health to deal with the pandemic, the last 2 years, 2.5 years. Of all the ups and downs that people have been dealing with when it comes to COVID. And I'm happy to say that, as we go forward since January, till now, there's been nothing but positive results going forward. And I think that the credit 100% has to go to, Dan, his staff, and all the volunteers that we have up at the Board of Health, because certainly COVID is much easier to handle right now than it was, in the beginning stages 2.5 years ago. I think as we move forward, it's going to get even better. We're always going to deal with it. There's no question about it. It's going to be on the horizon for a long time. But at the same time, I think that we're going to be able to take and manage it a lot better. People take and realize that it's no different than having the flu. You're going to have to deal with the issue that if they do unfortunately hit you, and we'll just take and go day by day. But I'm looking forward to the next couple of years dealing with the Board of Health, because it's something I really so far enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, hopefully that COVID will start to take a little bit of a back seat because there are a lot of great programs and stuff that go on at the Board of Health. Yeah. Dan, I wanted to turn to you, though. I do want to stay on the COVID topic for a little bit yet. And where is the Board of Health with distribution for vaccinations and testing and all of those things that go along with, controlling the pandemic, if you will?
Yeah, well, we came out of the gate very fast on the vaccination side, and we continue to this day offering the vaccination. We're conducting about 5 to 6 vaccination clinics a week. We have some steady sites at the Ocean County Health Department at Toms River, down in Lacey at the Community Center, also partnering with the Ocean County Library System and setting up clinics. Also, any entity that would like us to come out, whether it's a nursing home, an assisted living, a senior housing, et cetera, we will go out to them and set up a vaccination clinic for them to be able to meet the needs of the residents. So we've always said from the beginning, as long as there's a supply and a demand, we will be out there offering this vaccination to the residents, and it's going to continue to evolve. I think there's going to be additional guidance as we move ahead, especially with the young kids. There's some conversation right now to get the vaccine approved at the lowest ages and offer
Which
that
would be
vaccine
5
for
and
them.
under.
Yes. So when that approval comes to fruition, we'll be ready to meet that demand as well.
And how about testing?
Testing, we continue testing to this day as well. We started in March of 2020. We really have not looked back. To this day, we're offering 2 days a week over at the college through a partnership between the county and Immediate Care right now. We did subcontract that out to be able to handle and some of the issues on the vaccination side to be able to shift some of our staff to meet that demand. But that service will continue as well. We also have our staff operating the Lacey site for testing as well. That's 3 days a week at this point. So if there's any resident of Ocean County that wants to be tested or vaccinated, there are plenty of opportunities, not only through our operations, but many other partners throughout Ocean County as well.
I was going to ask you, are the partnerships still there, or is the health department really the key focus right now for vaccination distribution and that sort of thing, or are the other agencies still available with this?
Yeah, I mean, all of the different agencies, all the partners that have been around from the beginning are still very active. We maintain a weekly call with the hospitals, with our federally qualified health centers, with the state health department, through the Board of Health, with the county. They're all working very hand in hand to really meet the need and rise to any change in that need that comes within Ocean County.
What are you seeing trend-wise as far as the number of cases of COVID at this time? I mean, you saw that during the holidays it really escalated, and then you saw it come down. But you, again, and I'm listening to newscasts and that sort of thing, and so, oh, it's going up, it's doing this. What are we seeing here in Ocean County?
Yeah, we are significantly lower than we were back at the holidays, December and early January. We are seeing a little bit of a increase in a spike with some of the new variant that's out there right now. The good news with that is that the severity of illness is on the lower end, and the hospitalizations do remain in check with that. So that's the best news with this. For the most part, people who are exhibiting symptoms and test positive, it's on the more mild side. They'll feel a little lousy for a couple days, and they'll make a full recovery with that. But at the same time, we are urging residents to use common sense with that, to pay attention to those signs and symptoms, especially trying not to confuse it with allergies. If in doubt, just get tested and know for sure, to really protect those around them that are most vulnerable of any age, but especially our seniors here in Ocean County, which we have a large senior population.
Commissioner, probably a couple of weeks ago now, one of the biggest groups of people really that are dealing with this is your public health workers, you know, whether it be from the Ocean County Health Department or like the Long Beach Township Health Department and that sort of thing. What is the significance of these workers? What important roles do they play?
I don't think the county and the Board of Health would ever have gotten through this last 2.5 years without all of the staff that works not only at the Board of Health and the county, you know, Ocean County, LBI, volunteers. We've had tremendous amount of volunteers. Like Dan said, different partners that have come in and worked with the Ocean County Board of Health. It was really a combination of all of these different people and all of these different agencies coming together at a time of need in Ocean County that really was what made the success of Ocean County getting through this pandemic in the last 2.5 years what it was. I guess about 3 weeks ago we had a recognition breakfast up in the Board of Health for staff, because we want to make sure staff realizes that, hey, we're not the ones doing this. There's a team of people in place led by Dan. The Board of Commissioners is very fortunate to get involved and have input in the process itself, but it's all these individuals on the ground that have taken and made the true difference with the pandemic itself. When it started, like Dan was saying, the testing was huge. Lines were wrapped around the buildings, going outside of the Barnabas Center. Same thing with vaccinations. We were doing everything we could. Dan and his staff were fighting on a weekly basis, trying to get as much vaccination as we could, because in the beginning it wasn't available. So it's really a combination of so many different people involved that deserve credit, and each and every one of them has gone above and beyond, and they're doing it for the residents of Ocean County. Like Dan said, we have the highest senior population, we have the highest veteran population, and these people are very vulnerable. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to take care of these people and get them through this pandemic, and hopefully put their lives back in some sort of normalcy in the next couple of years. And
you spent a lot of time with them when this all started too, because you were actually at one of the larger vaccination clinics that we had in Ocean County. Just take a moment to describe that for me.
Yeah, when we were operating out of the Barnabas Arena, which again we certainly owe a lot of thanks to Tom's River School System for that opportunity, because they were very gracious in allowing us to use that site. I was there, a few of the other commissioners, Sheriff Mestronati was there on a daily basis, really for showing support for the staff, because I'm not a medical person. I can't take and give vaccinations or anything like that. But to me, it's just important that the people that were out there on the ground doing the work, as well as the people that were waiting on lines, saw our faces and realized that, hey, we're all in this together, and we're going to do everything that we can to take and get this behind us. And it not only, I think, was the right thing to do, but it certainly made me feel good going home at night that I was able to take and participate at some level.
Absolutely. And we're actually going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back here on Ocean County Focus.
The Ocean County Board of Commissioners, working to make Ocean County a better place to call home and a special place to visit.
Welcome back to Ocean County Focus. Joining me today is Ocean County Commissioner Gary Quinn, who serves as liaison to the Ocean County Health Department, and the Ocean County Health Department Public Health Coordinator, Dan Regney. We're talking about programs and services that are part of the Ocean County Health Department that affect you. Commissioner Quinn, before we went to the break, we were talking about COVID and the ongoing pandemic for the last 2 years. But the Ocean County Health Department is far more than just COVID COVID response. And I wanted to chat with you a little bit about warm weather's coming up, and that's your big season in Ocean County. And the environmental division within the health department takes care of our water testing. Tell me a little bit about that program and why that's important to us.
Yeah, that's very true, Donna. We're coming into the season now where so many thousands and thousands of people travel to Ocean County to be able to use all the great lakes, all the ocean, the rivers, everything that we have available here for recreation. And one of the responsibilities of the Board of Health is to make sure that the water that they're going to be swimming in, or the beaches, everything is going to be safe and clean, which is why the Board of Health actually does testing on these waterways every week to make sure that the levels of bacteria are down to where they should be, to make sure that when somebody goes into the water, it's going to be safe. And this is throughout the entire county. All 33 of our municipalities have different waterways that are tested. And the Board of Health takes and provides the numbers. They check it. If there is a problem, they go back and check it again. If there's a problem a second time, most of all those places would be shut down temporarily until the water levels reach back to where they should be.
Right.
But it's a great thing for the Board of Health to be doing, because people also have the ability to take and just for reassurance go on the County Board of Health website,
Sure.
See the testing results in their own local town, on their own local beaches, and make sure that before they take and venture out into those areas that themselves as well as their families and their children are going to be safe. So
Right.
it's really something that's done very well.
I mean, Ocean County, you're surrounded by water in Ocean County.
Very
You
much
have
so.
environmental gems all over the place, from Barnegat Bay to the Atlantic Ocean. And I know that the county, and before we get into specifics with Dan about the water testing program, the county itself also takes a lot of steps and efforts to keep those waterways clean. For example, the road department with making sure storm drains are cleaned. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a major contributor to some of the pollution that we end up seeing in these waterways. Whether it be people just discarding garbage, dog waste, cigarette butts, whatever ends up on the streets ultimately feeds
Right.
its way into the storm drains, and that's a major concern. That creates a major problem for the lakes, the waterways, everything that we're trying to take and clean. Ironically, today is the first day where the plastic bags are no longer allowed
Right.
in New Jersey, and I've had calls in my office from probably a couple dozen people already complaining about the fact that they don't believe that it was looked at properly by the state when they put it into place, because a lot of people that have animals use those plastic bags
Right.
to pick up dog waste.
Right.
And it's a concern now is how is that going to be affected? Is that going to certainly increase the pollution when it comes to our waterways? But there are alternatives in place. There are other options that are going to be available. But I think just like every other issue, the Board of Health goes above and beyond to make sure they educate people.
Right.
And that's very, very important. And I think that the way things look now, unless we have an extremely heavy rain season, which would add to some of the pollution problems, I think Ocean County is going to have a great year, much better than we've seen in the last 2 summers. So.
Well, that would be wonderful. I think everybody's hoping for the
Very
same
much so.
thing. Dan, when we talk about the water testing program, what exactly does it entail?
Right, well, it's a program that typically runs from Memorial Day to Labor Day. We typically start 2 weeks prior to Memorial Day to get a baseline of what to expect on the water and get a baseline of what that information is, and also go 2 weeks after Labor Day for that. We go to almost 70 sites throughout the county. Last year we did over 1,200 samples. We go out first thing in the morning. We have a seasonal staff that goes out, that we have grant funding from the state to be able to fund that. And they're out at the beaches at 6 o'clock in the morning getting those samples. We have a great partnership with the OCUA, with the Utilities Authority, and they perform the sampling for us. We get the results in the same day, and that information is referred up to the website, as the Commissioner had mentioned, and you can get that on the OCHD.org. If the results do come back that are unfavorable or out of compliance, we do resample that same beach. And then we work with the local officials for that. If it's a municipal or other, we work with them for messaging and trying to get the information out to the public and get the notice out so nobody's swimming in areas that they should not be at that time.
What sort of a season did you have last year, if you can go back to that?
About 6%. came up out of compliance, that we had to go back and do additional sampling for that.
Right.
So overall, it was pretty good. As was mentioned by the commissioner, it's really after the heavy rainfalls when you
Right.
get really a flushing
Right.
of all the streets and everything between the dog waste, as was mentioned, and even geese and
Yeah.
the wildlife in general. That's typically when you get that to get into the waterways and really have the impact. And you need to be able to get that flow to
Right.
be able to clear it out. But there are things that people can do. I mean, really just cleaning up after their pet
Right.
is first and foremost. If they take their dogs for a walk, to do the responsible pet ownership, that is one of them.
Sure.
To clean up
Well, I
after.
think a lot of this often comes back to us and our habits. I mean, throwing things in the street is a problem. It doesn't just sit in the street. It winds up in a storm drain, which again, if heavy rains and stuff like that, winds up in Barnegat Bay. When you do testing, where are these only the areas that are swimming beaches, or do you do the ocean? Is it everywhere, or?
They are all recreational bathing sites. So these
Okay.
are the locations that are approved to be able to have a recreational bathing location. So they would have a lifeguard, they would have a designated beach bathing area to be able to go in. Those are the sites that we go to. We would not go to a non-bathing beach for
Right.
that. But we also inspect those bathing beaches as well for other compliance with lifeguards and life-saving equipment and things of that nature as well, which is a
okay.
different program that we operate out of the health department as well.
Now, and again, keeping kind of in tune with the warm weather, if you will, Ocean County Health Department also takes a look at restaurants to make sure that they're in compliance with stuff. Why is that important?
The Board of Health does inspections on the restaurants, just to make sure that everything's in compliance, make sure that everything is safe, and it's certainly something that's very important to the consumer, as well as to the restaurants. The restaurants certainly, don't want to end up having any kind of situation which would have blowback on them. I know, in the past 2 years, the restaurants have not been as busy as they have been.
Right.
And this year, we certainly, other than the fact that we're still dealing with a labor shortage, we're anticipating that we're going to have a much better banner season down here, weather providing. So I think that program is going to take and be extremely busy moving forward.
Right.
Like Dan said, we're really a couple weeks out from Memorial Day, so the Board of Health is gearing up right now, trying to make sure that all these things are covered and make sure that they're doing everything to protect the consumer. So it's a good program.
Who does the health department work with when you do inspection, like restaurant inspections? Is that with the state also, or is it just more of a county health department
So each
regulation?
local health department would be responsible for the restaurant inspection. So we would be working with the local restaurant establishments, the retail food establishments for that. So as we've kind of gone through the last two and a half years with the COVID, we actually changed some of our modeling with that because the business model for a lot of the restaurants changed to takeout and even like a change of menu. So we kind of saw ourselves, while we had a lot of our environmental staff kind of shifted to help with the COVID response, we try to work with the restaurants, and we've always seen it as a partnership between ourselves and the restaurants. It's more than that once a year inspection, but we really try to educate them on why and what we're looking for,
Right.
and the importance of what we're looking for as the overall health and the food that they're serving to the residents of Ocean County.
And as the commissioner said too, of course that's a benefit not just to the people utilizing the restaurants, but the restaurant owners themselves. I mean, everybody wants to walk away with a good experience.
Absolutely.
And
And
we're
if
gonna-
there's a restaurant owner or a new establishment looking to open, we can help with that in terms of interpreting the regulations as well of what they would need to do to open a new retail food establishment in Ocean County, because we've had a lot of those questions come our way. And it should not be like a surprise, like
Right.
if somebody's invested time and money to open up an establishment, then we go in to inspect it, it may not be in compliance. Reach out to us beforehand. We will help them interpret and let them know what we're going to look for when we come in. And we had to ask an inspector series to help them open up if there's any new business ventures out there for that.
And I have to think that's really beneficial to the business owners, because I think a lot of people feel that this is more of an adverse kind of situation where, we're going to be in trouble now. But I mean, to be able to offer a helping hand beforehand, I think is really a huge benefit to the business
Very much
owners.
Yes.
We're actually going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back here on Ocean County Focus.
The Ocean County Board of Commissioners, working to make Ocean County a better place to call home and a special place to visit.
And welcome back to Ocean County Focus. We've got some new guests joining us today. They're kittens from the Ocean County Animal Shelter located in Jackson Township. And this particular segment, as you know, we will be talking about the animal shelters. Commissioner Quinn, why is it so important to have good, caring animal shelters and the friends networks that are involved in them?
In Ocean County, we have a tremendous amount of pet owners, and we have a lot of people that unfortunately will take in a pet and it doesn't always work out. And the shelters that we have available really provide a temporary home for these pets when in a time of need, so that the pets are taken care of, the pets have a place to stay until they're able to go out and find a new family to unite them with and be able to take and start their life with a new family. But the success of the program is really not only due to the Board of Health staff, but so many volunteers that truly love animals, that take and put their time in, whether it be just going to spend time with the pets, feeding the pets, cleaning up after the pets, and that's what makes the program successful. And I think we're very blessed to have all of those people working for us. Certainly, these little guys are a perfect example of the what they deal with on a daily basis, and it's very heartwarming to be able to see the final outcome when these pets finally do find a home.
Absolutely. Now, these kittens are from the very first litter that was had this year in 2022.
Correct.
At your shelter, at this animal shelter in Jackson Township. It's my understanding now, we weren't able to have all 4 of them join us because, well, but I have Bonnie, you have Ennis, you have
Trevor.
Okay, they're not quite ready for adoption yet. There's a little bit more time that they need, and they'll all be fixed and everything before they're ready to go. Dan, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what steps do I need to take in adopting an animal?
Yes, there's a lot of steps. First, you can start looking around. We have our website, and you can go to OCHD.org, and we have a lot of the pets that we have for adoption on our website, so you can start your venture that way. You can visit our 2 shelters we have in Jackson and down in Stafford, and we have the visiting hours. We're open 7 days a week over there, and it's a great operation. I mean, the staff are phenomenal. They're very user-friendly, and we'll take the time to sit down and go through and talk about the pets that we have. And all the pets that we adopt out, they're all spayed or neutered. They're up to date on their shots. It's very reasonable, and it's a great opportunity.
So, actually, do you know the hours for the shelters, or are they just, or is it just easier just to go to the website and find out all that
In the
information?
afternoon, they're open from 1 to 4, although we start our day 8 o'clock in the morning in caring and working with the animals and getting them fed and cleaned up and watered and fed and whatnot. We're open in the afternoon, and then Wednesday evenings as well for that. So we have the different opportunities for visiting the shelters.
Right. And I didn't want to go back to the COVID topic, but did you see a lot of people starting to adopt during COVID? That seemed to have been a trend, that everybody was running to an animal shelter to get an animal, and I was wondering how that worked out for Ocean County.
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think a lot of the operations changed within the Ocean County Health Department, including the animal facilities.
Right.
But they never stopped the operations, which is phenomenal. It's a testament to the dedicated staff that we have. Because the adoption demand was still there, and unfortunately also the surrender demand. We do offer an opportunity for residents to surrender if they have financial hardship or anything of that nature. But we did see an increase for that, and the shelter was able to maintain that pace and offer the animals for adoption to them.
Right. As far as adopting, what do you look for in an adopter? I mean, it's not like here you go. Right. Thanks for stopping by.
There is a process. Right. That's a great question, because a lot of times it's a commitment. When you're looking at adopting a dog or a cat, you're looking at a 10, 15 or more year commitment to the animal themselves. So there has to be a connection, looking at the family circumstances, making sure if they're a tenant, that their lease would even allow a pet at that location.
Right.
Do they have kids? Is the pet that they're looking to adopt kid-friendly with that? So we want to take a look at that. All the animals are temperament tested, so we get a good idea of their personality. The dogs and cats have personalities just like people.
Sure.
And you try to match that up as closely as you can to the personalities and the family dynamics of who's looking to adopt them.
Commissioner, in speaking with the volunteers that are here actually this morning with the kittens, they had mentioned that there's a kitten care program that helps with the fostering and that sort of thing. How does that make a difference for Ocean Ocean County? How does that help? I mean, when you have volunteers and you know that they love the animals, how does that work out?
I think the volunteers, they know what they're going to be looking for when they're looking to place whether it be a kitten or a dog or whatever into somebody's home. And like Dan said, it's very important that the match be done properly.
Right.
Because we don't want to see any of these animals, go into an unsafe environment or a place where they're not going to be treated the way they should be treated. And we certainly don't want to see them come back. We want them to end up living in like Dan had just mentioned, 10, 15 years in a loving home.
Sure.
Where they're going to be taken care of. So the volunteers just play such a major important role in this whole process. And it's amazing to see how many of them put in the amount of time that they put in just because of their love for the animals and the program itself.
Right. And Dan, we call this time of year right now kitten season. What does that mean?
This is the time when a lot of the litters are born with the kittens. So we typically do get a large influx of kittens
right.
Into our facilities. So we have a lot to choose and a lot of variety, as you can see with the three that we have here.
Do you have suggestions for residents if they do happen to find a mom cat that that clearly has had kittens or has the kittens with her on their properties or somewhere where it's just not a good place for them to be? What do you recommend?
Right. Well, each town is responsible for animal control, so they should reach out to their animal control officer in their town.
Right.
And they can provide them the best guidance. And if they have a home, they can help them get them to the home. If they don't have a home, they can either contact us. They can bring them. We have contracts with each of the towns to be able to bring those strays into our facilities. And everything we just talked about, temperament testing, and try to do everything we can to get them into the proper home, or work with the volunteers, as mentioned, to foster them out.
Right. Do you have veterinarians on staff?
We do.
Okay.
We have a full-time veterinarian on staff as well as contracted veterinarians to care for.
And I was wondering this the other day. I mean, if I have an animal at home, can I use that service, or is that specifically for the animals coming in and out of the shelters?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're only licensed as a shelter and as an animal facility. We are not licensed as like a veterinarian would be bringing a dog or a cat for pet care in that nature. So unfortunately, we would not be able to for that.
Right, but the animals before, whether it be kittens or dogs or I don't know what else if you have rabbits or or what kind of other categories you might have, but before they go home to their forever homes, if you will, they're fully spayed, they have all their shots, and can I call the shelter and say, hey, I need some help with this, I don't know what to do, the cat just did this, or do you have anybody that can assist in that kind of way?
We can help them with basic pet behavior and things of that nature and help guide them through.
Right. Now, where exactly are the shelters located?
We have the one in Jackson on Fremont Road, and then we also are down in the Stafford Industrial Complex.
Okay.
Down in Stafford.
And again, the hours for the shelters are?
Open to the public between 1 and 4, and Wednesday evenings till 7:30.
Okay. And when they get there, now if I recall, because we had visited a couple of times to the shelter in Manahawkin in particular, you still have the cat room and that sort of thing? Yeah, so there's an opportunity to really get to view a lot of the kittens and cats, so it's not like you're just walking in there and saying, you have a lot of opportunity with that. And dogs too, you're still so.
And we get to know your rooms in each of the facilities, both in the building itself and in the facility, as well as outdoor pens that we could put the family with a possible dog or a cat in, and they can get to know them.
Nice.
And they get to know your room.
And Commissioner, we're about ready to wrap up, and I just wanted to know if you had any messages for the residents of Ocean County when it comes to the health department and its services.
No, I think the health department it's pretty evident how successful they've been and all the different programs that they offer. Not only going through COVID, but just like we're sitting here today with the animals. There's such a wide variety, but I invite people to take and visit their website because a lot of times people need help, but they don't realize it's out there.
Right.
And like Dan said, the Board of Health is there every step of the way if you need advice, if you need answers to questions, to try and make sure that they step up and help everybody in Ocean County. So it's a great operation that they run, and I think it's something that the residents are very, very, very fortunate to have. And I can see, Donna, you're probably getting ready to sign some papers.
Well, I was going to say the same thing about you.
These,
So
these are adorable. I got to tell you, they're absolutely adorable. And
I want to thank the both of you for joining me today here on Ocean County Focus. I'm hoping that the information that gets out there is helpful to all our residents and to our visitors. So thank you both. And thank you for joining us today. And I hope you could get down to one of our Ocean County animal shelters, take a look at the little ones that are there. They're looking for you too. Have a good day, everybody.